Welcome, YouTube. I'm Gabriel Flores, also known as Maybe Lee. Where I'm doing another episode. For those of you guys who follow, you know what it's about. For those of you that don't, here is an opportunity for me to pair together two main points. One point is about my a personal thing relating to me, and then the other point is just another topic I add onto it, and hopefully it enriches um, the overall thing. And then the finale is coming up. I think we have like 15 days or something. It's gonna last. The finale will last 2 days, and the finale is like my mountain in this life. The climax that leads up to it's going to be exciting too. The climax is like the culmination of all my knowledge to this life, is like the culmination of all my secrets to this life. And I forgot to mention with the finale, it features a famous producer, so it's going to be pretty cool. And that's about it. You know, each morning I go through, gather my thoughts and ideas, put together a personal thesis, do research. Then every day at 4 o'clock, I record for 17 minutes, and that's it. That's basically the bulk of it. If you haven't already done so, go to my playlist and check out my other episodes so you can get caught up on what we've already talked about, and you can get up to speed and stuff. So without any other delay, today, I want to talk about how I ended up here today. It's my firm belief that a man's character is determined by how he handles himself in really bad situations. I really think that the bad moments in our life are meant to mold us into the people that we are, and that they do. And that the reality is people judge you based off of how you handled yourself in bad situations. You judge yourself based off of how you handled yourself in bad situations. And so that's basically how I ended up here. How I got to this point in time is based on the culmination of the worst moments in my life and how I handled myself through those moments. And right now is the summation of all of those times. And of course, we have more things coming up in the future and stuff like that. So that calculation can always change. And what is the calculation? I don't know, but basically, how I ended up here. I don't know what the verdict is as far as my character, but I would say I handled myself okay. There's moments in my life that I really regret, and that I think I could have handled better, and there's some things I wish I could have changed. So I can say that. So from a personal standpoint, I'm not saying I'm completely 100% clean and the perfect man, but I've done pretty good so far. I'm not dead yet. And let's hope it stays that way. Let's hope I die of old age rather than a horrible freak accident or some other bad way of dying. Let's talk about me being unemployed. Um, at work, I was having a really tough time at work, and ultimately it led to me. I ended up quitting work. While I worked there, I was a pretty good um, worker. I think I did a pretty good job. I got high marks. I got above average marks, and I liked the job, and I was there for most of the time. But I ran into a rough patch, and these are one of the difficult moments that defines a man's character. And I didn't really have anybody to turn to. I didn't know what was going on. I was just experiencing some bad stuff, and I felt like it could lead to a tragedy or something worse. So I was forced to quit my job, and that's how I ended up here right now in the unemployment state. And I'm currently seeking help for some of the mental health stuff that I was experiencing then. So that's a little bit of insight into my unemployment. After that was I hit a rough patch of employment status for about 4 or 5 months or something like that. And that was a difficult time. That was one of these difficult times that defines a man's character. And that's what I mean by how I ended up here today, how my character is the way it is today. And, my character today is the result of how I handled myself. A man's character is determined how he handled himself in bad situations. And so even after I quit that one job, I ran into a rough patch of employment status, and I bounced to a couple jobs. I was doing some stuff I wasn't supposed to do, drugs and stuff like that. And I made it through without killing anybody, killing myself. I think that's a good thing because I feel like it's kind of like the weather. People don't have control over the weather, and the same thing with even my drug use. I didn't have too much control over. Yeah, I went and picked it up, and yeah, I snorted it and I smoked it and stuff, but there's a certain aspect of it that I didn't have control over. So, I feel like I handled myself in that weather pretty decent because I didn't kill anybody. And as of right now, I'm still alive, and I'm still determined more than ever to get help and to basically advance from here and to proceed with my life. And I feel like that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. But it's the times like that worry me because I'm not a typically a bad person. I typically don't think bad things, and that's probably why. Because I guess for some reason when I experience something like that, right now I typically don't think negative things. I really don't think a lot. So I don't know. I can't trace it to exactly where that comes from, but we do know that it is the result of all the bad situations in my life. Let's go through a list of all the bad situations in my life, and then you can just see those things defined his character, because we know that how a person handles himself in bad situations defines his current character. How I ended up here today. So the one I already told you about, where I was getting attacks inside my head and I was forced to do methamphetamine. Well, I was kind of forced. I didn't have a lot of control over it. It's like the weather. And then, I've been to war, and I had a lot of bad, what do you call it? A lot of bad, I guess you could say moments. I don't want to say moments but I have a lot of times when I was out there in war that were bad things that happened. One is almost crashing in the helicopter. The other, getting rocketed on a daily basis, bombarded by rockets on a daily basis. So constantly having a physical threat such as that, not knowing when it's going to come, but that the rockets are going to be landing, is a bad thing. And seeing people, and then also seeing people in close to death, nearly dying, in morbid states, really bad condition overall, from getting blown up by IEDs, gunshot wounds, and burn wounds, stuff like that. So those are all bad things that emanated from wartime. And then, some of the stuff I've talked about already, but we just want to get a little overview. So, some bad visions and stuff, just seeing the world that's in front of you, but picturing it meaning something different. So those type of visions. Um, let's see, really close friends, relatives dying. So some of these, a lot of other people out there have been through. So um, not having my kids close by, not being able to see my kids, and being in a totally different state than them, being unemployed for sure, not being able to do the things I want to do because I don't have money. I can't get on a plane and go visit my kids. I can't go to a bar and just sit down and have a beer or something, or go play pool or something like that. So all of those things. So that's just a really rough list. We've already been over some of that, but that's basically my point. Is how I ended up here. Um, is based on how I handled myself in these bad situations, and that applies to anybody. A man's character is defined by how he handled himself in bad situations. So that's basically all I have. My entire existence is based on external factors. So my character isn't stuff that, well, the anxiety attacks are internal, but they're coming from outside. I'm having them because I'm at work for some reason. Stuff that's happening at work. Um, Going to war. Living here right now is the result of civilization. I wouldn't be here if civilization wasn't here. If we didn't have cities, if we didn't have hospitals, if we didn't have a whole system, I wouldn't be here because of that. That's what I mean. My entire existence and all of my thoughts come from the outside world. So even though the stuff happens inside, the outside world affects my inside thoughts. And it's always been like that. Like I said, right now I don't think too much, and I don't think negative stuff at all. Um, so that's what I mean. My existence is based on external factors. God, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for God. I feel like my being and myself is connected to the earth, to the planet, and to the cosmos, the universe, and the Milky Way galaxy. I feel like my entire self is intertwined in all of that and stuff like that. So let's locate a star. Let's locate our one of our long lost parents, because we come from the outside world, and so it's not a far reach to say that the stars are our parents or our mother or our father, because everything that exists is because of the stars. This planet wouldn't be here if it weren't for the sun and for the billions of stars out there. They're our parents. So let's locate one of our parents, our long lost parents. From the website, www.space.com, the web page, space.com, from author Tim Sharp, who wrote on January 18th, 2018, an article entitled Alpha Centauri, nearest star system to the planet. I think it's Alpha Centauri, nearest star system to the planet. In the article, quote unquote, the system is located in the southern sky and is not visible to observers who are above the latitude of 29 degrees, a line that passes near Houston, Texas, and Orlando, Florida, quote unquote. And so that's our, besides the sun, the sun is, our mother. But that's probably Daddy, because Daddy's the second close sun to the planet. um, a little bit about Alpha Centauri. It's made up of three stars. One of the stars, though, they think may be just passing through, but the two stars have a common center of gravity. And like I said, like the article says, you can't see it. You can see these stars with the naked eye, but you have to be in the southern. You have to be uh, below 29 degrees latitude, which is you have to be in Houston, Texas, or lower or south of Houston, Texas, or Orlando, Florida, or south of Orlando, Florida, to see the Alpha Centauri. The one star that's part of the system is closer to Earth than Alpha Centauri, and that one's not visible with the naked eye. That's kind of unique because it's closer, but you can't see it with the naked eye, and the reason is because it's not as bright. It's not running as hot as Alpha Centauri. Another unique thing about Daddy is there's billions of stars in the sky out there in the universe, and there's only a few that are close to us. So there's a huge space around us that's just blank of stars, at least, and the universe is made up of stars. But we only have a couple near us, so that's kind of unique. Check in next time, guys. I hope you guys were able to follow along. This is the best I can do. See you later.